Hello everyone, welcome back to Below Par for myself, Lovery. So, unfortunately golf has been taken off the list now of activities we can do, and England has gone into a second lockdown. I am here to help you at home improve your at-home practice. So lockdown golf, we're going to call it. And this is a video on 5 things to help improve your lockdown golf experience. And these are things that I was sat here the other evening. I'm currently away from home, and I don't have access to my normal setup at the moment. And I was thinking, what would I really ideally like? What 5 things would I need in order to get the most out of my practice while I was here? So these obviously apply if you have a nice bit of indoor space and a nice bit of outdoor space. Now, I'm not talking about anywhere major. For those of you that follow my Instagram, you'll have seen that actually I was able to do quite a lot of practice in my garden. And in fairness, with the right setup and the right equipment, you can actually have a really productive practice without loads of room at all. And it's surprising, and you'll see when I go through this list of how these things are going to help you do that. Equally, I know the weather's not as good now, so a lot more people are focusing more indoors. We'll go a little bit more into that side of it as well, and what I'd recommend you are practicing with that perhaps limiting the amount of space you have. So let's get into the video. Let's not hold on any longer. Let's chat through the 5 things I think are going to help you improve your practice at home. So, number 1, one of the hardest things to find on the planet at this moment, or certainly during the first lockdown, these things became impossible. Now, what I love is the fact that at one point these were sort of unwanted gifts. Nobody had really thought about them, and there was no demand for them, and now suddenly the companies making them cannot make them fast enough. Now, of course, I'm talking about a hitting net. So if I move you across to my laptop screen, you will see I have just typed in golf hitting net. So really nice and simple. All we're looking at here is just what is available. So, the first one that pops up, $89.99, a Ford portable golf net, 7 foot by 7 foot. So this is great. If you've got a bit of space, you can stand in your garden. The great thing about nets is you can work on long game. You can do some short game practice into it in terms of strike or just technique. You could start to look at drills. You can hit proper golf balls. So it really starts to increase the amount that you can do. But certainly scrolling down through the list, you'll see there's all different types, all different prices. Now, personally for me, if I was getting a golf net myself, I would try and get it from a buyer that I have heard of. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be crazy expensive, but this is one here. So this is from Scottsdale Golf, coming in at $179.99. Now, what you've got here is a fully built up net that is purposely designed to hit golf balls into. I would just highly recommend spending a little bit more on a decent net than not a good one. Now, I probably don't have to go into the reasons why, but I have seen some, certainly from the first lockdown, some people hitting into a net and it not going well, it going through or hitting cars, all those sorts of things. As I say, these honestly will start to transform your practice. Cool thing is, if you mix this up with a tripod, put a camera on, you're away. You're in a really good position then to make some good progress. So number 1, hitting net, something like recommended on there. But as I say, loads of different types. So then, number 2 on the list. Now, this is a fantastic thing to do in the winter. Obviously, with winter and outside necessarily not always being as accessible, there is one part of the game that everybody says always goes first, and that is their putting. So I would highly recommend some sort of putting mat. So if I then take you back to the computer screen, you will see all I've typed in here is putting mat, and it comes up with a load of things there that are for sale. Now, some of the ones you've got a simple putting out mat coming at $59.99. You can get it out with a little putt out bit, start working on some pace, start working on line, fantastic. Different options as well. You've got the Forbes home putting mat there, which has got 3 holes in it. A little bit more kind of conventional looking rather than a ramp and a hole in it. But again, you've got so many different styles of putting mat. Now, personally, I don't think you need to pay fortunes on a putting mat. I have to admit, when I was playing full time, I had a putting mat from M&S. I think it's about 15 quid, and I bought it from the outlet. But it was fab. You stand there in the evening, hole 50 putts in a row. From the 6 foot marker, it just had a little line where 6 feet was. And then we'd put a putting mirror down and do some technique work. I could do some pre-shot routine. There's so much you can practice just on a small putting mat. 6 foot holing out. You imagine if you didn't miss a 6 foot putt next season, how much further how far you progress handicap-wise. I think it was Luke Donald did it one year, didn't miss a putt inside 3 feet and was world number 1. I'm not saying that's the main reason why he's world number 1, but you get the point, it helps. So, there's other training aids you could use with that, obviously, but a simple putting mat will genuinely start to make all the difference. Now, I've got a couple that I've saved in a search, which I can show you now. So we've got the Forb home golf putting mat there at $69.99, so that's discounted, it's 10 feet. You can change the size of that as well, I have a feeling. Yeah, up to 12 feet, to give you some different options. After that, we've then also got a little bit more expensive option, however, 26-foot high-speed putting mat. So the great thing is with a lot of these, the speeds can be adjusted, or you can buy the speed that would best represent what you're putting on. Now, I know a lot of people are going to look at this and go, 399 quid, that's crazy. But actually, if you're really looking to improve your putting from 26 feet, which we all know is quite a long way, what a better way to do it than on a putting mat. And certainly I love the fact, certainly this one here has got the circles on it. It's got the well putt area there, so it gives you a target to aim at. This really is a well thought through bit of kit. And in fairness, if I had to go down the coaching route and didn't have access to a putting green, I would have something like this available so I could work with people. Cool thing again with this, you can have your tripod set up, you can take videos, you can send it to your coach. Your coach would really appreciate you on a mat like this. They would be able to see what you're aiming at. If not, as I said, you can go into something a little bit more simple, I think like the last or original one there, $69.99, 3 holes, got a chance to hit some putts. So either of those would be really good, but highly recommend a putting mat. So then, the third item that I would highly recommend for at-home practice would be something like some decent practice balls or foam balls. Now, the reason why I say this is a lot of people tend to just stand the net and hit some Dunlops or just some random balls that they've found. I would highly recommend either A, using the golf ball that you normally use if you're hitting into a normal net. If you're not comfortable hitting proper golf balls, I'd highly recommend then getting some foam or some practice balls. Now, I can understand completely why people wouldn't feel comfortable potentially in their garden hitting golf shots. I think if you were to put a net up and let's say some nice cars nearby, which let's be honest, some of us will be doing this perhaps in a secluded, a very small garden or a driveway or hitting into a garage, I can understand you don't want a golf ball pinging around and causing lots of damage. So that then is where I would start to look at foam balls. Now, there is different sort of balls available, and you've got something there from Skills. You can see at $12.99 for some practice balls. I would say that's relatively expensive. It's more on the expensive side. However, Skills do make some good products. The other one, and the ones that I personally use, are the Golfers Club foam striped balls. So they're £4.99 from American Golf. You can imagine they're going to do delivery at the moment, so really nice and quick. A really good product. Now, what I would say is I personally would avoid what they call the Airflow golf balls. That one, which is the Masters Airflow, the £1.99. Personally, I always find they crack, and I find they don't feel much like a golf ball. So that then is the striped practice ball. So £4.99 for, how many's in there? 9 balls. So 9 balls in there, £4.99, $2.99 delivery, absolute winner. Stock up on those, gives you plenty. These are going to be absolutely perfect. So highly recommend, if you've got limited space, some foam practice balls. So after this then, number 4, we start getting a little bit more serious. Now, for some people, this is probably where they'll draw the line. For others, this is where actually it starts becoming very interesting and actually isn't probably as expensive as what people think. So for those of you who don't know, I do use a flight scope when I coach. It allows me to capture data on the club and the ball flight, which gives me a more rounded picture of what my clients are doing or players are doing when they're hitting the shot and the reason why the ball is doing what it's doing. Now, within reason, these can be used well at home. So we then have 2 options from FlightScope that are designed to be made for you to use as non-professionals, let's say, that are nice and easy for you to use. Now, the cool thing is both of these can be used indoors and outdoors. Now, what that does mean is it doesn't need a huge amount of range to pick up a ball to then give you data on what that ball's done and convert that back to, let's say, an iPhone or iPad. Now you've got the Mevo and the Mevo Plus, so you've got two different options available there. Now the Mevo is the smaller of the two. You can see Bryson there holding the Mevo. You can see it is a very small unit. And then you've got Bubba holding the Mevo Plus, which is a slightly larger sort of launch monitor. And to give you an idea, it's still not as big as the XI Tour flight scope I use, and it won't give you all the data. If I scroll down a little bit, it's going to start to tell you what you can and can't do. So, for example, in the Mevo, you've got things like carry distance, club head speed, smash factor, apex height, flight time, ball speed, spin rate, and vertical launch angle. Now, for a lot of people, that's going to give you most of the information you're ever going to need. You imagine you're at home hitting in your net, you've got a Mevo behind you, suddenly you could do a gapping session with your carry distance. Now, Mevo Plus will equally allow you to start using simulator software, and I believe also then gives a load of extra data which you can see behind and below. Now, for many people, that level up of information might not be necessary for their understanding of their own swing. Actually, just having some nice basic information that the Mevo is offering there might be the best option. So the Mevo comes in at about £480, so 478.80. I did, however, have a pop-up notification come up when I loaded the screen up that was £50 off when you sign up with FlightScope. Or you've got the Mevo Plus coming in at £1,699. If you're just outside hitting balls in the garden and you're thinking you might want to know how far you're hitting it, and actually then you want to see all that on your phone and you want to be able to take it with you when you practice if you go back to the driving range again, then I'd recommend the Mevo. But as I say, for 500 quid, I think that's quite a good option actually to really advance your practice at home. So that would be my sort of number 4 recommendation, something like a launch monitor. So I think then number 5, we better peg it down a little again, and we're going to go towards a humble Rangemat. Now, there are many different types of Rangemat you can use. You've got little small ones that purely just support a ball and a tee, like this Callaway one in front of me there. Or you can start going into something larger, so $24.99 for the Callaway, which is pretty good. Or you can start going something a little bit larger. Now, I've found a lot of these at the moment in sale, and probably with a bit more research, you're going to start finding potentially some even better items. But a 4-foot by 3-foot dual turf golf mat. So this is something you can actually stand on. I know a lot of people, sometimes they put the ones where you hit off and they keep moving around and it's a bit annoying. By actually standing on it, you're hoping it's a bit more stable. But actually, first off, protects the lawn or wherever you're hitting from. I know some people might not even have access to a lawn as such. They might have sort of pavings or cobbles. This would be perfect just to put down on top, give yourself a chance to hit off something half decently soft. Not just that, it also allows you to practice from the same spot over and over. So for example, if I was out there now and I had some alignment stick drills set up and I had my tripod set up, if I was hitting off grass, I'd have to move the entire setup, and that gives me a chance to get it wrong. With this, you're constantly going to be hitting from the same spot, which means actually you can work from the same spot. So once it's set up, you can check with your coach, leave your tripod set in, you might FaceTime him for half an hour, whatever, let him have a look at your swing, or equally, use your camera to take some videos for yourself so you can have a look at your swing. And let's say for $139.99, I've not done a huge amount of surfing to find this, but actually I didn't think that was too bad. So you imagine you get that and a net, so let's say you're 300 quid all in, get a launch monitor, 800 quid, and suddenly you've got a really good setup in your garden. Now, you can go a little bit more expensive. You can start going into a Golf Academy teaching mat. Now, the thing that I will say about going a bit more expensive with mats, they do start to behave a little bit more like turf. Equally, they tend to be a little bit softer. You've got a mat that doesn't send as much shock and vibration through your wrists. I think we've all done it, where we're at the driving range hitting balls and your wrists start to hurt, and you've probably heard of the tendonitis and all sorts that a lot of pro golfers get. This is a really good option or to get around that as you start to get a slightly more expensive mat. Now, don't get me wrong, there's different levels to this. To somebody at home, if you're like me and you're just thinking, I tell you what, I just want to go and hit a few shots, that's absolutely fine. Get yourself a nice cheap mat, get out there, hit a few shots, you'll be absolutely fine. But if somebody's looking for a more long-term solution, then you maybe want to look at spending a little bit more on a mat and getting something a little bit more substantial. So that then is my 5 items that I have chosen to help improve your lockdown practice. Now, I know there's going to be some things that I've missed. I did only give myself 5. So do let me know in the comments below if I've missed anything that you are using at the moment for home practice. I might have missed something really obvious. So do let me know in the comments below and I'll be sure to get back to you. But as I say, I think those 5 things there would really help people out. Now, it might necessarily be a case of, as I say, with the launch monitor, you might not want to spend that much. Again, I'm absolutely fine with that. Make it as expensive or as cheap as you like. Just make sure it does the job you want it to. Do make sure to keep checking out the content on the channel. Do make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon. That will help you do the checking out of the channel, because we do have lots more coming this way in the next coming months. Thank you very much for watching. As always, we always appreciate your support. So do let us know what you think of the video in the comments below, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.